Hey ladies, welcome. Are you a girl on the go? Do you love to have nice nails but just don't have the time anymore? I'm exactly the same. In fact, I kind of gave up on the whole going and having my nails done at the salon. While you're here with me tonight, I'm going to share with you my 5 JAMazing Jamberry tips and tricks. Tip number 1, nail prep. It is essential to have good nail prep to the life of your wraps. If you're wanting your wraps to stay on your nail bed as long as possible, you have to prepare your nails for them. One of the things that will hinder your nails, your wraps from staying, is your invisible cuticle. Some people have an invisible cuticle that can grow up the length of their nail bed. One of the ways to remove your invisible cuticle is to get a cuticle exfoliant. We have one called our cuticle removal pen. So I take my cuticle removal pen and I just twist the end a couple of times and then I paint the product around my cuticle. And I let it sit and dry for a few moments. Okay, once my cuticle removal is dry, I take my trusty cuticle spoon, which comes in our deluxe application kit. Take my trusty cuticle spoon and then I just push my cuticles back using the end of my spoon. Now, I am applying wraps regularly. So I am always doing this, and you can see, can you see there that I'm still getting a little bit of invisible cuticle up my nail. So it's very important to make sure you do that. Once you've pushed back your cuticle, then you need to go and wash your hands so that you're removing all of the cuticle remover. So my invisible cuticle is all pushed back, my hands have been washed. The next step I do is buff. I need to buff the surface of my nail bed. So I just take my buffing block and very lightly just go over the surface of my nail. The last step in nail prep is to get your alcohol swab. You can use our Jamberry nail prep wipes, but I tend to just use the alcohol swabs that you can get from the chemist. They're much cheaper and you really don't need the large prep wipe. So what I do is I run the alcohol swab over the base of my nail and I just make sure I get right down there deep into my cuticles as well, so that I get rid of any oils that are left over on my finger. And then I'm done. My nail is prepped and I'm ready for my wrap. Tip number 2, application. Nail wrap application starts by sizing which of these wraps fits the finger that you're wanting to apply the wrap to. Now I already know that this wrap here is perfect for my index finger.
Thought that I'd been hurt before, but no one's ever left me quite this sore.
Now our wraps are made of polyvinyl, which means that when we heat them, they tend to expand. So as they cool, they will tend to shrink. So we like to let our wraps cool down before we trim them. So once I've applied this one, I would then normally go onto the next finger and apply the wrap to my next finger. And then I tend to apply 3 wraps before I go back to the first and trim it. Now that our wrap is nice and cool, I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to trim the excess off to just above where my nail tip is. And that is it. Tip number 3, filing and those tips. Filing is another important step in the application process. I like to use my coarse Jamberry nail file to remove any immediate excess, and then I like to finish off with my glass file because I'm going from a large grit to a very fine grit, and the fine grit leaves such a lovely smooth finish on my nail. So I take my coarse JAMazing nail file, and at a right angle to the tip of my nail I will run my file downwards. This is going to remove any excess wrap. Can you see the excess wrap there? And make sure you apply a little bit of pressure. These wraps are quite sturdy. You don't have to be delicate with them. And there we go. All the excess has been removed. So once I've done that, I like to take my glass nail file, and then I'm just doing the same thing. I'm just filing down. I don't want to file up because I've just laminated my nail. If I file up, I could delaminate it. So I'm just filing down with my glass file, and it's going to remove any coarse edges that I've left on my nail. What I like to do also is I will file down at a bit of an angle. So instead of going at a 90-degree angle to the tip of my nail, I'm going to go at about a 45-degree angle. The reason I'm doing this is because I like to use my nails as a tool. And I know that when I'm filing at a 45-degree angle and taking a little bit of the nail wrap off, my natural nail is going to be peeking out underneath it, which means when I am using my nails as a tool, I know I'm using my natural nail and not the nail wrap. It just safeguards my wraps against lifting at the tips. And just going to remove that last little bit. And I'm all done. My wrap has been applied. This one's called Fizzy Grape. Isn't it awesome? Tip number 4. Get some oil on those cuticles, people. The last step in the application process is to put a little bit of moisture back into those cuticles. I'm using the cuticle oil pen here today, but you can purchase the little bottle of cuticle oil as well. I love the oil pens though because they're so handy and you can just throw them into your handbag. So remove the lid, wind up the base of the oil, and you can see some product coming up the brush, and then I just pop a little bit, wind again, a little bit of oil on each of my cuticles. And then I rub them in. And that is it. My Jamberry manicure is complete. And tip number 5, the wrap removal process. Do not peel. It is very important that you remove your wraps correctly to ensure that you do not damage your nail bed. So the first step in wrap removal is to warm up your wraps with your heat source, whether it be a mini heater or a hairdryer. So warm up your wraps so that you can soften the adhesive and it lifts off your nail bed easy. From the side, lift the edge of your wrap slightly. Then take your purple cuticle pusher, dip it in the nail polish remover, and then run that underneath your wrap, like that. You may need to keep dipping your cuticle pusher back into the nail polish remover to make sure it's nice and wet, and then keep running it under. You don't want to push. You're not pushing, you're not pulling, you're not forcing the wrap to come off. You're just gently running it. From side to side, and it's off. And that is how you remove your wraps. So there you have it. Those are my 5 JAMazing Jamberry tips and tricks. Follow those and your nails will look fab.